Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. By now, I'm sure you know the disastrous budget bill has passed in the House. That means the reconciliation bill has gone through both the Senate and the House. Now it just gets signed by Donald Trump into law. I want to talk about the disastrous budget bill, but I think it's helpful to frame it in some other world events that are taking place kind of at the same time. So, we were talking about Alligator Alcatraz, the concentration camp in the Everglades, in the swampy area during hurricane season, during a tropical storm season in Florida. Who would have expected, Michael Cohen, that when they announced something like that, pour $450 million into it and probably more to build a concentration camp where they encourage people to be migrants, to be eaten by alligators, that if there's a rainstorm, it would flood the facility. So it's already been flooded in less than 24 hours since its announcement. I'll show some video of it as well. Trump's posting photos of alligators and glorifying alligators eating migrants. That's the stage that we're at in this Trump regime. I've heard some people say, don't compare it yet to Auschwitz, compare it more to Dachau, one of the first that were built around this time. That's what Charlie Angus, former member of parliament in Canada, said, actually built around the same time of when Hitler built Dachau. So I want to show this, though. Just show this video so you can see what Alligator Alcatraz, looks like right now. Here, just let's play this. And I show you that because one of the things that I think is significant to point out is you go back to Trump's history, you go back to all of the things we're talking about. These things not only create a lot of issues, they don't work. The things don't ultimately work. He's not someone who delivers what he says he's going to deliver. Even with the ultimate cruelty and how horrific it is, it's already being flooded, and we haven't even got to that wasn't a major storm that took place. So when I think we talk about the disastrous budget bill and Cohen, all of these MAGA Republicans who said they would never support it, they're like, what changed? They're like, we went to the White House and Trump said that he would do it right. He made us all of these promises. I mean, you're dealing with someone who's found liable for fraud. Cohen, someone who you testified against in multiple trials for his misrepresentations of things. Just go show this video. Trump shuttle. Remember when Trump said he was going to manage the debt perfectly with Trump shuttle? Here, take a look at this.
Look, this is not financially sustainable. It became clear that the Trump shuttle would not grow as an airline.
Trump fired 100 employees. Just 18 months after the Trump shuttle launched, the airline had already lost $128 million. In 1992, Donald Trump decided it was time to bail.
One more clip I want to show you, Cohen, then I want to talk about the bill and anything else you want to talk about. Yesterday, the Pentagon press secretary from the Department of Defense gave a press conference. And one of the problems when you lie all the time is you can't keep your lies together. And so as he's giving this press conference, like, we totally obliterated the nuclear facilities in Iran, completely obliterated. They will be back in a year to 2 years. And the reporter's like, what? They'll be ready to do it again in a year? And now the United States is no longer focusing on maximum pressure and encouraging China to do deals. That's not total obliteration. Just take a listen for yourself to what the Pentagon press secretary said. Let's play.
First, our assessment of the battle damage around Fordo, Nantes, and Isfahan remains unchanged. I mean, we believe, and certainly all of the intelligence that we've seen have led us to believe that those facilities especially have been completely obliterated. And the interesting kind of side point about this, Tara, is that all of the conversations that we've had since Operation Midnight Hammer with our allies all around the world, but certainly also in the region, they say a couple of things. They share our sentiments about the degradation of Iran's nuclear program and the fact that we have degraded their program by 1 to 2 years. At least intel assessments inside the department assess that, and I think their intelligence shares that conclusion.
Current assessments by this department think it's been degraded or delayed by 1 to 2 years?
I think we're thinking probably closer to 2 years, like degraded their program by 2 years. But
I think
none of that is actually true, which is amazing how everybody stays on message. It doesn't make a difference if it's going to be Department of Homeland Security. It doesn't matter if it's going to be the Department of Defense. It doesn't matter if it's Caroline Leavitt. It doesn't matter if it's any of the surrogates that are there. It doesn't matter. And you know who I really have to blame for all of this? I tell you, I blame our members of Congress. You know, one of the things, Ben, that I wrote in my Substack this morning, I've spent enough time in the belly of the beast to know the stench of political cowardice when it wafts through the halls of power. Just because you're given the power doesn't mean that you really should be lying to the American people, that you should be turning around and making up stories simply because you know that that's what your fearless leader wants. I mean, let's just talk about that big, beautiful bill. We could talk about alligator Alcatraz. I mean, the whole thing right now makes absolutely no sense, especially if you look at the black and white numbers on how it pans out. This is a catastrophic bill for more than 17 million Americans. I want people to understand that number. 17 million Americans are going to be negatively impacted as a direct result. And I don't understand how or why anybody, whether it's Democrat or Republican, members of Congress are just capitulating, rolling over so that Daddy Trump could rub their belly. I don't get it.
You know, and one of the reasons I show those clips at the outset is even in their cruelty, even in their use of B-2 bombers, they're not effective even in those things. So when they tell me it's going to be $6 trillion in debt that's added, I have to say, you know what? I'm going to multiply that by a factor of 3 or 4, just knowing Donald Trump's background, because the worst case scenarios always seem to be what the outcome ultimately is. You know, one of the things, Cohen, that I think is worth discussing as well is when you talk about this disastrous budget bill and you see everybody in the House say, we know we were passing a horrible budget bill, but we're sending it to the Senate so the Senate can fix it. And then everybody in the Senate said, okay, we know we've made, this is what they've said. I'm not like paraphrasing. This is basically what they said. We've made it worse than the House, but we think the House can try to fix it and make it a little bit better. And then they end up just passing the worst of the worst. And then Donald Trump just keeps on posting things like, no tax on Social Security. That's what we've won for you. There's no taxes on Social Security anymore. That's not in the bill. That's not anywhere to be found. You know, there was once a time where the MAGA Republicans would at least try to pretend that their disastrous budget bills would actually help the American people. I mean, they would try to be like, well, if you did this, there'll be trickle down. It will trickle down to the rest of us. That will jumpstart the economy and things will be better. Well, we all know that trickle down economics didn't work and it always made things even worse. Where are they now? They just make up things that aren't in the bill. And then they claim that these are things that are in the bill. You know, I'm not sure if we have that photo, Jeremy, of no tax on Social Security because Trump kept on posting it. That's not in the bill. If it was in the bill, it would cost about $100 billion or so. That's the cost of it a year, probably more than that. But when Trump says the seniors, you're going to get that, you're not going to get that. When it comes to the no tax on tips, it's a gimmick. It's capped. It's a deduction, first of all, and then it's capped, and then it's phased out in a few years. And when it phases out in a few years, that's where they try to claim they're going to try to find some savings. And then they screw the group of people who would be getting the tips by kicking them off Medicaid and making the cost of their living more expensive anyway. So they're not getting any appreciable, they're getting screwed. They're the mark right there. And over and over and over again, you see it with this. Now, at the same time, I just did a video on this as well. Cohen's on a yacht apparently. Where are you, Cohen? What's going on? What is going on there? Why is there?
By the way, in all fairness, Ben, I'm at a friend's birthday party right now. All right, and I've stepped away. I've gone to a different area so that I can be with our brigaders, because today has been such a terrible day as far as I'm concerned for this country, for Americans, and I wasn't going to miss off 4:30. I am, however, having some issues with Wi-Fi, but nevertheless, I'm not going to disappear. No chance.
I like your background. I'm not really sure. Am I looking at, is your background the background of a yacht? Is that what am I looking at?
No, it's not. It's a, what do you call it? It's a blue screen.
I know it's a blue screen, but there's something in the blue screen though behind it. I know it's not. I know it's not a real yacht. I know I'm not looking at it yet. Anyway, I like the blue screen. All right, going into it as well. Let me show you though. I think there was this one moment where Jody Arrington, and Remy, I think we have this clip. This is Democratic Congress member Jim McGovern, basically cross-examining Jody Arrington, who's the leader of the House Rules Committee. And what McGovern's asking Arrington is, let me just list for you all of the organizations that say this disastrous budget bill is going to be terrible. Let me ask, do you agree or disagree with all of these organizations? Let me show you this. Let's play it.
And then now we hear a whole different version, because Republicans don't like the numbers. And it's not just CBO saying that your bill will cost trillions. It's every budget modeling organization with any credibility. Do you agree with the Yale Budget Lab that your bill will add trillions of dollars to the deficit, even when accounting for growth? Yes or no?
I probably disagree with most of what's coming out of Yale University.
Do you agree with the Penn-Wharton budget model that your bill will add trillions of dollars to the deficit, even when accounting for growth?
I disagree.
Do you agree with the right-leaning tax foundation that your tax cuts will add trillions of dollars to the deficit, even when accounting for growth?
I disagree with every organization you've mentioned because of a growth rate assumption.
And they account for growth. Do you agree with the right-leaning American Enterprise Institute that your bill will add trillions of dollars to the deficit, even when accounting for growth?
May I make a clarification?
Yeah.
I mean, you're running through a pretty good list, but
I'm almost done with it.
I think I'll let you finish.
Do you agree with the Tax Policy Center that your tax cuts will add trillions of dollars to the deficit?
No, I don't.
And what about the House Freedom Caucus? That these tax cuts they have a lower estimate, but will add over $1 trillion to the deficit, and is way more expensive than the House passed bill.
Here's my position. I don't think Democrats or Republicans have gotten serious about addressing the cumulative deficits into the future.
And they bring it right back. Oh, it's I don't think the Democrats have gotten serious. Dude, it's your bill. It's your budget bill right now.
They've managed to shove this past everything. How many times, Ben, have you and I on this program turned around and said to our brigaders, say whatever you want. You can do and say whatever you want. Somewhere along the line, this group, Trump, the Republicans, the entire GOP, they are just so entrenched into this cult that they're willing to even screw over their own constituents for the sole purpose of what? Of pleasing one man, of passing a bill that is going to detrimentally affect just millions and millions of Americans. I can't understand what's happening here anymore. I've known that the crazy, has just gone off the deep end, but we're in a whole nother territory right now.
And I'll give you another exhibit to support that thesis, although there's probably infinite exhibits here. So the way the MAGA Republicans' House floor speeches looked was that each person was trying to please the person they call their daddy now, right? They refer to Trump as their daddy. I'm not making this up. MAGA Republican members call Trump daddy, and they're trying to please daddy the most. So they each go on the floor with photos of their dad. Can't make this up, of their daddy. And they look at it and then they're like, this is the smartest, most handsome man I've ever seen. This is brilliant. Look at him. Look how smart here. Just watch this. Let's play it.
Choose to side with the American people and deliver on the mandate that they gave us back in November. I urge my colleagues to put America first, support the rule, and pass the one big, beautiful bill. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, cult much? That gentleman's poster says it all. It's not about American families. It's about one big party for Trump. It's about swelling up his ego. I now yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from California, Speaker Emeritus, Ms. Pelosi.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Yeah. One of the things we saw happen last night also is that there were about 11 or 12 holdouts, right? These MAGA Republicans who said that they were not going to vote for it. They weren't going to budge. So then what happens? And this is what you see in North Korea and Russia. The United States now has state regime media, right? State regime media is Fox. And so what Fox then does in coordination with the regime is they start posting the photos of the MAGA Republicans who are not voting for it. And then they have a former MAGA Republican Congress member who's now a host on Fox, this former Congress member Chaffetz. And then he just starts basically saying, if you don't vote for this, we're coming after you. Shame on you. You're not a Republican. You're never coming back. And they devoted about 2 hours of coverage last night to doing that as Donald Trump was basically threatening them. And I'll go find this other clip that, a little bit too, where literally one of the Fox hosts is like, come on, help me. Let's do the coercion together. They literally say, let's do the coercion together. But here's former Congress member Chaffetz, MAGA Republican. Just watch what goes down. Here, play it.
And so you can either vote with the AOC or you can vote with Donald Trump. So don't tell me that you're a conservative if you're not with Donald Trump. That's not going to fly. You're never coming back. And shame on you. And you get on that plane and try to go home and try to tell everybody, oh, I stood tough. Yeah, I got these big Instagram muscles. Look how tough I am on Twitter. Well, you don't support the president. That's just not going to fly.
Clicks, Jason. Everyone's looking for a click.
Y'all are the ones
including
looking for
you, Sean Hannity, including you, Mr. Chaffetz. Let's be serious. The two of them together, it's like Dumb and Dumber. Honestly, I'm so blown away how state-run media, Fox News, allows them to get away with this sort of stupidity. You're not a Republican. That's like them turning around and saying, well, Ben, if you don't go ahead and you don't vote, in this specific way, well, we're no longer going to say that you're male, right? We're going to turn around and say that you're no longer a lawyer. What gives them the right to tell you what party that you can and can't belong to? The whole thing is so stupid.
And the overt threat. Good luck going back to your district. Good luck going back. Shame on you. By the way, here's Chaffetz saying over the past, and this is just the cult stuff. Like to me, this is even worse than what happens with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Then you have Chaffetz says, we've been doing this for 6 months. Has Trump been wrong about anything? Like literally everything the guy's been wrong about. Here, watch this.
That's the best the Senate could do. And you're going to hold up the president's agenda. President Trump, you rode every single coattail he had. You rode President Trump's wave to get into office. You took pictures with him. You bragged about him. You've touted him. Now the president is saying, this is my signature piece of legislation. He's been there less than 6 months in this term, Sean. Has he been wrong on anything? He hasn't been wrong on anything. What he's done in terms of tariffs, tackling inflation, all the safety and security, going after, trying to lock down and secure the border, give him.
Literally the things he's naming right there, right? Core inflation is up.
What are you talking about? If you take a picture with the guy, automatically you're married. I mean,
You
is there
took a
anything
picture with the guy.
Come on, man. You took
a picture.
You took a picture.
This is the best we can do. You took a picture with him. But that's the thing, how could you take it's the strangest tactics of abusers, right? They're not making arguments that this is a good bill. He didn't say it's a good bill. It's the best they can do. You took a picture with him. You're going to take a
You
picture
rode his coattails, for God's sake.
Rode his coattail. You're taking a picture with Daddy Trump, and you're not going to vote for the bill that's going to take 17 million Americans off of Medicaid. Daddy's going to be mad at you. What are you doing? I can't believe you're on a yacht while I'm there. Fake yacht. It's a blue screen yacht. What are you doing? This episode will go down. It's a horrible time, right? I get it with the news, but the fact that you're on a fake yacht, it makes me smile a little bit, and I'm it's silly. Anyway.
I'm at a friend's birthday party.
Next up, your friend's birthday party. Is this his computer with the yacht background? I have so many questions I'll ask you. Maybe we'll talk about it on our Substack. And then here's Chaffetz right here, and he goes, "If you're one of those Republicans who were in the last 3 nay votes, especially if you took a picture with your daddy, you're going to be in big trouble." Here, watch this.
That's why you better get in line. This is a game right now, Sean, of musical chairs. If you're one of those Republicans that are in the last 3, because that's what it'll be, if there are 3 nay votes, you will never be involved and engaged in politics because you can't say that you're a Republican and support Donald Trump. That's the game they're playing. That's the dangerous game they're playing. And why they're messing around with President Trump at this hour, at this time, get over it. Vote yay, get on with the rule, and then vote on final passage.
I tend to agree. I think it's extraordinarily well said.
Extraordinary. It was the least well said thing I've ever.
The whole argument is beyond ridiculous. The argument. You took pictures with them. You rode the coattails. You're part of the same party, despite the fact that it was almost like 20 Republicans turned around, screamed up and down, "I cannot vote for this bill based upon promises that I have made to my constituents that I will protect Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP programs, and so on." And the first thing that they do, they fold. They just fold. They are spineless, each and every one of them. They are just spineless, no matter how you want to characterize them. They have forgotten that they do not represent the party. They represent their constituents. And I'm going to tell you something, and it's a prediction. The second that these folks start losing their Medicare, Medicaid, when grandma or your mom or your pop no longer can afford their insulin, their medication, just wait. Wait to see the civil uprising that we're going to have. And the funny thing, too, is that these folks, these people that Chaffetz is actually talking about, they're predominantly in red communities. They are Republicans as much as they are Democrats, and more so in Republican states. It's really, again, it's baffling. That's all I can say, Ben. It's baffling.
You took a picture with the guy.
Hey, come on now.
You took a picture with Daddy. How could you do this to him? I mean, when I watch that, though,
Daddy's gonna be mad at you, Ben.
Daddy's gonna be taking a photo with your daddy. But when I watch it for real, I mean, the hard part for me to understand is just how these human beings who are elected to Congress, who are a co-equal branch, who should be proud of being a co-equal branch, right? I mean, I think that there's, a power that comes with Congress to help your constituents, to stand up for your district. It's a big role to just hand that off because you're taking pictures with the guy and you ride in his coattail, But I think that what we shouldn't forget is that America was the exception and not the rule. Lots of countries looked at America where there were Donald Trump-like people who led their countries, and they were like, how were you able to be different? That we were a beacon. We would say the president's the leader of the free world, and there was a non-free world, and our system was complicated and based on good faith And our Constitution was not all that long. You look at the amendments; some of them are just like a sentence long. Yet it was messy. But each branch protected itself, and yes, there were bad rulings. But the arc ultimately went in the right, at least tended to go in the right direction. And now you look at it, and America is this embarrassing kakistocracy where you've got Anna Paulina Luna and Marjorie Taylor Greene and the MAGA Republicans now. They're doing their July 4th posts. I think we have the Anna Paulina Luna one where she's got her like military grade weapons that she's holding and she's doing like modeling poses. And then you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene with her weapons and her guns. I think we have some. That's the Marjorie Taylor Greene one. Do we have the Anna Paulina Luna one? Which is the one right before that in the stack, Jeremy, where just look at this. Like, I showed this to my buddy Akeem, who lives in Canada. He's a former professional hockey player. I said, just look at what that is. Show that image one more time. I'm like, what the hell is this? You have Anna Paulina Luna, who's a member of Congress, who's doing like this like modeling pose. She's dressed in military fatigues, and she's holding a weapon of war. The flag is draped over some throne that she's sitting on. It's happy early 4th of July, a fitting day for the BBB to be signed. I mean, just what clownish stuff is this? And Marjorie Taylor Greene, show that photo next. She in this photo was telling people to celebrate 250 years of the red, white, and blue. I'm giving away one of my favorite guns.
Oh, good. I want it. Send it to me, please.
Enter for a chance to win. It's like a raffle. It's like a raffle for guns.
I'm not even sure you're allowed to do that anymore, right? I mean, didn't they? I mean, you're talking about what appears to be like a fully automatic. I mean, just maybe an interfamily trade, but to be able to raffle it off, I don't know.
I think the key word in your sentence there was, I don't think you can do that anymore. Anymore, I think, is the operative word, where I think if you're a MAGA person, I think they can do anything now. I mean,
and they know that they can. But Ben, one of the other things that I wrote in my Substack this morning, I really want to get your take on it, because I'm not here to rag on Trump, because I hate to say it, but he's actually accomplishing what he said that he wanted to do. And as I've said it so many times before on this program and on my Mea Culpa podcast and everywhere, the man's a master manipulator. He's a showman. He's a salesman who could actually convince a drowning man to buy goggles. The real story here, though, and I think it's being lost, the real story here isn't about Trump, and we shouldn't even be making it about him. It's really about the weak-kneed, principle-free army of Republican lawmakers who are standing in line like a bunch of school kids at recess, waiting for their turn to nod, to salute, and to sign off on this catastrophic bill that they know is going to harm their own constituents. That's what I think the real story is here. I think it's not about Trump. I think it's these weak-kneed, these just losers of lawmakers who are willing to turn around and fuck over their own constituents, as you say, in order to get their belly rubbed by daddy.
I want to take a quick break, remind everybody to subscribe to the Michael Cohen YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Subscribe to his audio podcast, the Mea Culpa podcast, his Substack, the Michael Cohen Substack. We've got a great Substack also over at the Midas Touch Network. Subscribe here. We're on our way to 6 million subscribers as well. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break. We've got a lot to discuss. And look, I'm sitting in this chair for a pretty long time, Cohen. Cohen gave me some good recommendations for my back. I appreciate you.
There you go. I got the same problems.
Let's take a quick break.
When I was in my early 20s, I developed an ear infection that caused me to lose, believe it or not, more than 80% of my hearing. And since then, it's actually gotten worse. But the truth is, I never bought a hearing aid out of vanity, despite my dad, who's an otolaryngologist and a diplomat in head and neck reconstructive surgery. He's an ENT surgeon. He sent me to his audiologist telling me to do so. And then I got my MD hearing aid and I couldn't be happier. My wife and my children couldn't be happier. You know why? Because they don't have to keep repeating themselves. And my friends, they don't worry where they sit anymore at the table because I can hear now from both sides. Which is why I'm excited to say that this podcast is sponsored by MD Hearing. MD Hearing is an FDA-registered, rechargeable hearing aid that costs a fraction of what typical hearing aids cost. MD Hearing's Neo model, that's the one that I have in my ear right now. It costs over 90% less than clinic hearing aids. The Neo fits right inside your ear, so no one will even know that it's there. Plus, MD Hearing just launched the Neo XS, MD Hearing's smallest hearing aid ever. MD Hearing recently cut their price in half. I mean, that means that you're going to get their high-quality, rechargeable digital hearing aid for only $297 a pair. In fact, I called Ben immediately after to tell him how great that they are. I mean, I can actually hear. I even called my dad, who wears the hearing aid himself, and I bragged to him about my new MD Hearing aid. I mean, I told him it's just as good as premium quality hearing aids. And $297 a pair for a hearing aid? It's just crazy. MD Hearing was founded by an ENT surgeon, just like my dad, who saw how many of his patients needed hearing aids, but they couldn't afford them. Or, like me, vanity. He made it his mission to develop a quality hearing aid that anyone could afford. MD Hearing has sold over 1.9 million hearing aids, and they offer a 45-day risk-free trial with a 100% money-back guarantee. So you can buy with confidence. And if you're still on the fence about MD Hearing, they were just selected to be the hearing aid supplier for top Medicare Advantage plans. So they are a brand that you can trust. And look, here, I'll prove it to you. There's my hearing aid. You see how small this thing is? Yeah, and it goes right in too. So this holiday season, get the hearing aid you deserve with MD Hearing. Go to shopmdhearing.com and use promo code BEAT to get a pair of hearing aids for just, again, $297. Plus, they're adding a free extra charging case. That's a $100 value just for listeners of Political Beatdown. So go right now, that's shopmdhearing.com, and use our promo code BEAT, B-E-A-T, and get a pair of hearing aids for just $297. Again, shopmdhearing.com and use promo code BEAT, B-E-A-T. Go there now.
Look, we've got a lot of great sponsors on Political Beatdown. I know that one's kind of changed your life. I mean, that one's been
has.
That one's been a big.
It really has. It's and I stand by it. You know, I really do. I stand by it. It's tiny. It works. Here's what I want to talk about. At the table, like at the party I'm at now, people would have to turn around and they're gonna. Party's already beginning to start.
Here's what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about right now a few things. Number one, Maria Bartiromo with her job numbers. The job numbers, 140. First, they claimed that there was 33,000 jobs that were lost. The ADP report showed a huge amount of jobs that were lost yesterday. But all of a sudden today, they say 147,000 jobs were created in the last month. One of the biggest tells for me that there was something suspicious about the 147,000 jobs. What do you think it is, Cohen? What's 147? What about those numbers sounds to you a little bit Trumpy?
You mean 2 weeks?
The 47. So, you pick 147 just seems like an odd number right before the 4th of July. It seems like that would be something that Trump would just say, just tell him 147. We could revise it now. 147. It's a beautiful number. 147. It's absolutely beautiful. But I want to break this down. So a day before, let me show you what was going on Maria Bartiromo when the ADP, that's the private payroll numbers. They literally just take the private payroll data. Like, it can't be manipulated. Why would ADP have any interest in manipulating their payroll data that they just publish at once? So here was what happened 24 hours ago. Here, play this clip.
Of course, President Trump is talking about this bill leading to growth in the economy. We are waiting any moment now to get the jobs numbers for the month of May. The expectations call for the ADP numbers to be up 95,000 for the month of June, rather. It's the June jobs data. And we'll, of course, right now seeing the number actually show a decline in jobs, down 33,000 on ADP. The bill includes $25 billion for the Golden Dome, the missile defense system. Senator, you introduced a bill supporting the construction of that system. I want to get your take on defense and whether or not.
I want to get your take on it. I mean, for God's
so
sake.
so they were saying that they expected there to be 95,000 jobs. That was the estimate created. There was 33,000 jobs that were lost from the private ADP payroll number. I'll show you this other clip where she has a guest on who explains that's very bad data. Here, let's play it.
Trump would like to sign this right before the July 4th holiday to celebrate freedom and independence. John, we are 30 minutes away from the opening bell for a Wednesday in a holiday-shortened week. Your thoughts?
Well, our big surprise today had to be that ADP report on private sector employment. That was down by 33,000 jobs. The labor market is softening. It's flattening out. And that tells me that companies can go ahead and increase prices in response to higher tariffs, but I don't think that consumers are going to respond positively. They'll pull back on spending, so any increase by inflation because of tariffs will be quite limited. Ultimately, tariffs may do more to increase federal revenues, reduce the federal deficit, than to add to price inflation. And of course, all this adds up to lower than expected interest rates by the end of this year.
Yeah, great point. Markets have turned negative now 30 minutes before the open on the heels of that weaker than expected June ADP report. That's why President Trump keeps talking about growth, Ashley. John, you just mentioned, people will have to raise prices. Not in Mamdani's New York, Ashley. No. Not if the government is running the grocery store.
What are you even? What are they even? I mean, it's the
I
most.
have no idea. It's all word. It's literally all word vomit. Because Ben, I've said it before to you. I've said it before to our brigaders. I'm going to say it again. This modern Republican Party is not a party of ideas. They are a loyalty cult, plain and simple. And nothing proves that statement more than the way that they have all contorted themselves to pass this bill. Not only the passing of the bill, they have now done everything that violates the oath, the promises that they had made to their own constituents. I mean, the bulk of these folks that have gone ahead now and literally acquiesced to the bill, they literally built their political careers rallying against Washington's indifference to working class families. And the rest of them, they got on promises to do things like defend health care access in rural America. And now they're all just sitting there gleefully signing away, the only lifeline many of their voters have. And why are they doing it? Plain and simple, because the price of defiance to them is too high when you live in a party that is ruled by fear. I mean, I don't know any other way to express it. And then to have folks on Fox News and they sit there and they make up bullshit only to have the host sit there and say, I couldn't agree with you more. Of course you can't, because you don't even know what the hell the guy's saying.
It's another F word also, fraud, in my view, in my opinion. Pull up, Jeremy, what Donald Trump posted this morning after, from the Labor and Commerce departments, they put forward their data. So we had the private payroll data, and this is what the Trump regime is claiming the jobs report is from the government. So we had ADP, which published it, and then the government now says 147,000 new jobs added. And go back to that Trump post. And This is why, again, one of the red flags to me right away when I looked at it was the 47 right there. That Trump was building out a post right before July 4th, the 47th president. That's how he thinks. And so I wanted to know, I don't want to get conspiratorial and just be like, I don't believe the numbers, right? So I did a video this morning. I'm like, push back against me if you think I'm being conspiratorial here. I said, and let me go and get you the data. So if you look at the crosstabs in this jobs report that came out after the ADP report, it says that these jobs were created by the government, that these are all government, that the big job growth has been government job growth, particularly job growth in public education. 100,000 jobs in public education being created. So in June, when school's out, and we know the Department of Education is cutting back on education, they're spending less. We know that teachers are getting fired right now. Of course, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to, like, we know that's taking place the same way we know that gas isn't $1.98. They are saying that state government payrolls climbed by the most since the start of 2023, led by education, while employment at local governments also surged. So that's where they're getting the data from, 100,000 or so new teachers that are being created. Now, here's the way that Bloomberg describes this as well. And I just want you to see, like, it's a throwaway line, but an important one. Our take. June's unemployment rate fell, defying our and a consensus forecast for a rise, and payrolls grew at a decent clip. But we don't think this suggests the labor market is in solid shape, as the unemployment drop was due to exits from the labor force, while payroll gains were exaggerated by a Bureau of Labor Statistics model that seeks to measure the impact of business formations and closures. So even Bloomberg, which is a fairly conservative, journal, they're saying that it was an exaggerated model. And we know that Trump fired the civil servants out there. So do we think that there went from 33,000 jobs, it was ADP, which has no, as far as I know, they have no skin in the game to just start to make up a completely fake number, or a 200,000 job shift in the other direction, when the whole thesis of Trump and Doge is that they're firing government people and they're getting rid of government and they're not providing funding to state and local governments. So to me, this is why I think I'm not being conspiratorial, but push back. Then that would mean that all of the Doge stuff was what? To hire more government workers, that they're paying more?
I mean, if it was to cut expenses, fraud, waste, abuse, you want to start, there's a million places that they should start. I don't know if you saw that there was a whole group of individuals, some foreign, some American, that what did they take? Over $1 billion in Medicaid fraud. You want to worry about keeping Medicaid afloat? You want to do the right thing for your constituents? How about worry about the fraud, waste, and abuse that's going on there, instead of just cutting down a system that, again, provides health care benefits to the elderly, to the sick, to children. 17 million Americans. I don't even know what's going to happen at the point when all of a sudden 17 million Americans are going to find themselves without health care, when you're going to have to drive your kid 2 hours in order to just get to get some treatment. Hey, Ben, I apologize, but I actually have to go because the party's beginning to start and it's going to start getting really loud here. So can I give my 2-finger salute and let you just close up and wish everybody a very happy 4th? And I know, listen, we still have to celebrate. It's still our country. And it's why I constantly say here on the Midas Touch Network, you're not going to get these false stories. You're not going to get the bullshit like you just saw coming out of, I don't even know what organization that came at, 100,000 versus 137, 147. I mean, these numbers are all over the place. It's like Russia propaganda. I got to just say to the lawmakers who ended up letting us down, fuck you all again. That's like 2 weeks in a row that I got to say to the lawmakers. But this one specific to the GOP. And I'm disgusted with the Democrats as well. I know people say, what can they do, Michael? What can they do? All right. I don't know. Do like what Hakeem Jeffries was doing. Just keep talking. Talk for hours. All right. Just talk about it. Because the more you talk about it, the more people are going to hear. The Republicans, they just went spineless. They just decided they were going to just agree. They were going to ignore what they know to be true. They're going to ignore what they know that benefits their constituents. And they were just going to avoid unnecessary primaries and nasty tweets and posts. And so to these spineless, feckless, weak-kneed morons, I say to all of you, fuck you. This isn't the way. This isn't the way to celebrate America's 250th anniversary.
Michael Cohen, everybody. Great seeing you, Cohen. I want to make one point as well. I'll let you go, Cohen. This idea that MAGA Republicans have pushed, that there's a group of millions of able-bodied men ages 29 to 35 who are sitting, this is what they say, in their mother's basements playing video games to rob Medicaid is the most ridiculous concept, as though like Medicaid is like making it rain on this imaginary group of 29 to 35-year-old able-bodied men. When I think about like what Medicaid is reimbursing providers for medical services rendered. The money isn't going to the 29 to 35-year-olds. They're getting checks for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. They have to go and get a medical procedure or get medication that's being reimbursed. So there's no 29 to 35-year-old out there who's like, you know what I need right now? A micro dissection for my L5 S1 because I'm going to get rich. And that's not the way Medicaid works. Like, what are you talking about? You know where the waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid often is? It's often sometimes these big corporate groups that fraudulently bill Medicaid for services that are actually not rendered. And you know the type of people who run those companies? The oligarchs and the billionaires who are benefiting from this disastrous budget bill, like Rick Scott, the MAGA Republican senator from Florida, who was involved in the biggest Medicaid fraud basically in American history, and his company was criminally prosecuted, and he invoked the Fifth Amendment dozens and dozens of times. That's where the waste, fraud, and abuse is taking place, not the individual, because Medicaid isn't writing checks to human beings. They're writing checks for reimbursement for the procedures, and they base their whole thing on this premise. What they're trying to do with their, quote, work requirements is make the paperwork so burdensome for everybody and people who should be getting the services that they get kicked off immediately, and then they get lost in a broken bureaucracy, and then the states aren't able to fund the Medicaid because there are state and federal partnerships that take place. So then the hospitals shut down, and then the nursing homes shut down, and then that has a trickle-down effect. Now, what the MAGA Republicans are trying to do, though, before a lot of these cuts take place, they do them right after the midterm. So what they're hoping happens is that the impact isn't felt until after the elections, so they can run and say, look, we haven't done it yet over there. But then as soon as the election happens, then they either blame the Democrats, and that's when it really kicks in full force and effect. And I know you probably haven't heard that analysis like that before, but that's why this is the Midas Touch Network, and we break it down in ways that I think are important for you to understand what's taking place. So please, everybody, hit subscribe to our YouTube channel here. We're on our way to 6 million subscribers. The live show I do with me and my brothers, that will be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So check that out. Go check out the Mea Culpa Podcast, wherever podcasts are available. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Check out his Substack, The Michael Cohen Substack, and the Midas Touch Substack as well. We try to post a lot of those Michael Cohen articles on the Midas Touch Substack as well. Tomorrow, we will have full coverage still on the Midas Touch Network, beginning, as you know by now, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific in the morning. Then we stack those videos usually every 90 minutes or so. So you'll be able to get all the content you love tomorrow and throughout the weekend on the Midas Touch Network. Share the Midas Touch Network with friends, family, coworkers, and people that you know. We'd be grateful for that. Go to MidasPlus.com, check out our Substack. Go to store.MidasTouch.com. Check out the Midas Touch merch as well. We had merch for Canada Day also that you can check out, made in Canada. We appreciate you. We're in this together. We're fighting together. We're going to be here every step of the way with you. I promise you that we ain't going anywhere. We're going to remake the way we already have, the way news is done. And we're going to be by your side fighting for our democracy as always. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the Brother Show this evening. Have a good one. Shout out Midas Mighty. Shout out Beatdown Brigaders. Have a good one.